Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Homebrew Buffoonery. Okay, so in this episode, no brewing. What I've got is my two Kveik yeast brews. I've got a Weisenbock there, which is a dark wheat beer, and I've got a British Commonwealth Golden Ale there. Both used Kveik, and what I'm going to do is sort of go through the pitching, the harvesting of the yeast, because you're meant to reuse it. And what I've done is I've gone on to yeastbunnybrewing.com, and you can see it up here. I'll point it up there. There you go. And it says here to harvest the Voss Kveik yeast is the simplest way to go about this is get some baking paper, not the greased parchment paper type, not greaseproof paper, and then simply stir what's in the bottom of your demijohns. I've got two demijohns there because I've just transferred them to a secondary. So I have two demijohns there. And it says stir what's left in the bottom, and then put it onto the parchment paper, and then leave it to dry out. So you can put it near a radiator or something. I've got a little warming oven here. I've put it on its lowest setting, which is 50 degrees, which would probably kill everything inside. But I've opened the door, so it's probably going to be about 30ish, which is fine, as long as we can get the water driven off. And I've also got a bit of a kilner jarish kind of thing there, and I might put some slurry in that, just some slurry. But let's have a quick look at what I've done. First off, that one there is my Weisenbock, and I didn't use whirlflock in this, so there's very little in the bottom. And what I've had to do is add a little bit of water just to rinse it off. So all I'm going to do is put that onto a little baking tray and dry it off and see what happens. Actually, no, I'm going to keep that one. I'm going to put that one into there. I'm going to use that again because I think that's good quality yeast. But this one is the Commonwealth Ale, and I had a ton of whirlflock in it, and it formed when it first cooled down. It formed this huge clump. It was literally this big, and it looked like Godzilla in the wort. So what I've done is I've just siphoned all the wort off into the secondary over there, and whatever beer was left I've just mixed up. So this is the one I'm going to use to dry out, because this has got all the trub in it. So all we need to do is put it onto a bit of a baking tray and stick it in the warming oven. Okay, so as you can see, I've put it into a baking tray which has got greaseproof paper in it, and because I don't have any baking parchment. But what I've done is I've put a very light coat of vegetable oil on it, like a really light coat, so hopefully it won't stick. And if it does, it doesn't matter, because I'll just scrape off any dry stuff off the top and chuck the rest of it away. It doesn't matter. The other option, if you've got bigger batches, if you're doing 25 litre batches, is get some silicone baking parchment, because ain't nothing sticking to this bad boy, nothing at all. And then you can just put that in a baking tray. I've got a big baking tray there, as you can see. I thought I was going to have more, but I didn't. So all I need to do then is put it in the oven and leave it for a bit to dry out, and transfer the other stuff into that little jar, and that's it, ready to go. Yay, did it without spilling any. Boss will be happy. Okay, so it's obviously not the Kveik yeast day, because I'm wearing a different top. I've been out on mountains today. But I tried to dry out the Kveik yeast, and it didn't work. I got fed up with it, so what I'm going to use is the wet yeast for my Odinson Stout, which is there. But now, back to Symes in the past. And here's my little jar. And all I'm going to do is pour that stuff into there and stick her in the fridge. Apparently, it'll last 3 or 4 months. So, as long as it's kept cool, which is pretty good. I'm going to use it for a batch that I'm brewing at the weekend. I'm going to use doing an Odinson Stout. So I'm going to use that and see how it goes. So there's one drying, there's one liquid, and you know, I have to say, my experience with the Kveik yeast has been a bit iffy. That's not to say that the batch I got off the bloke who does the Yeaster Bunny brewing wasn't any good. Just that I'm a bit of a doofus and I probably didn't pitch enough. And you can check out all the stuff about the Kveik yeast on that website. But like I say, my fermentations were a bit odd really. I actually ended up putting a heat belt on both demijohns and wrapping them up, and you know, they ended up getting up to 30 degrees or so, but I wasn't getting much out of them really. I left them for over a week, and the fermentation wasn't going right. It wasn't as it was described. I'd gurgle away, you know, like it was a volcano. And so what I ended up with the sick note, which is the dark one here, thought it might have been oxidised, but I don't think it is. I started with 1064 and it only got down to 1026. Now that's probably me rather than the yeast, but that's 5%. And this one did a bit better. Started out at 1050 and got down to 1016, which is 4.5%. But the Kveik yeast, apparently, if you treat it right, keep it at a reasonably high temperature, I've heard tell of people getting it down to 1002, you know, between 1002 and sort of 1006, which would be great, because you wouldn't need to use that much grain, you know, you wouldn't have to have too high a starting OG or anything like that. So, you know, a bit of a mixed bag really, but I'll keep plugging away at it. And I do have that bag of other yeasts in the fridge there, but I'll keep plugging away with this for now. And, you know, that's it for the old Kveik Chronicles for now. You can, as usual, you can like and you can subscribe and you could leave a comment on this waffle if you want. And we'll hope to see you in the future on further videos, because I've got some big plans. And, you know, why don't you go out and awake the Kveiken? That's a joke, trying to parody John Wyndham's The Kraken Wakes. So, there you go.